Hello and welcome back to SpriteGuard Plays HyperRogue. We are continuing on our orb strategy mode, and I have been thinking about tactics lately, and I have really not been playing tactically very well. Now, the plan for today is to head into the Living Fjord first, and see if we can get ourselves a water elemental, and then it's back to the Windy Plains to get an air elemental. And once we've done that, we will have unlocked the elemental planes, which I'm quite looking forward to. So I'm actually, let's see, we have a sandworm after us. So I'm going to be using a strategy that I use for speedruns, where I'm going to hug the wall and mainly look for treasures that are within sight of the wall. Now, we're going to get into more tactical situations than usual. Not here, probably, because we don't have that many treasures. But as we get into more challenging situations, I want to pay attention, and I want to talk a little bit about tactics, because I know how to tactics. And I don't usually make a good show of it. Oh, poop. Okay. Fight you. So here we go. So here's a situation where my head's churning, and so what am I doing? So there's three layers to tactics, at least three layers. There's probably 4 or 5 or 6. I don't know. There's a few different layers of tactics. First off is recognizing valid moves, not thinking about moves that are just not allowed, like moving towards this storm troll. The next is trying to see moves, preferentially see moves that are good. And so I mean, most of the moves here look alright to me. I think that down to the right actually looks the best, just from an intuitive, quality way. And a lot of that is looking at things like, where do I think the mobs will go? And that's kind of the next layer of tactics, is thinking about what is it going to look like in the future. And so I can predict where each of these mobs is going to be relatively well, because I've developed a game sense, just kind of this intuitive perception of how the mobs tend to move, how things tend to play out. You know, I have an idea of what's possible, what's not, and I can kind of almost see like this line of, I see what direction they're facing, I know that they're always going to move toward me. That's actually why I get confused by the wolves a lot. So down and to the right here looks good. It will get us this troll will come in here, because that's the only place it can go. And I believe this water elemental will move here. Yeah, because it's on a hexagon, so there should only be one shortest path to us. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And these guys are going to have to... Let's see, these guys are going to get cut off by the elemental. This guy might not, because a bridge will form once we kill it. But I'm not really concerned about these guys, because they're going to have to line up behind the elemental. And the main thing is dealing with both the troll and the elemental before we get drowned or cornered. And so we're going to move down this way and kill this guy. And we're going to stay near the wall. There we go. Now, we weren't close enough to the wall to get the orb of water, but we did get the elemental kill. And then, as I predicted, this guy comes up. Now, there's a temptation when you're looking really far ahead in a tactics game like this to make a bunch of moves at once, because you've predicted out what's going to happen. And in really, open, empty situations like this, I can move pretty fast and just wait for things to change. And that's the whole principle of auto move in traditional roguelikes. But auto move doesn't really work in this because of the way that hyperbolic geometry is. Because the amount of area to explore is just, there's no compact way to explore it like you can in a really closed off dungeon. So now we're looking for the Windy Plains, and we're going to try and get the last treasure that we need there. I'm not really sure when air elementals start spawning, but we're basically just going to be wandering and trying to generate. I know that I passed 2 Windy Plains last time, just because I was not paying enough attention, and I wasn't really thinking about what we needed to do. Like, I wasn't really thinking about, specifically looking for Windy Plains, even though I said I was. I was, my attention was split, and so hopefully I find one faster this time. I see one in a reasonable time frame, but I can make no guarantees, and I apologize to future me in the editing booth. Ah, here's one. Alright, so there is a treasure. I don't think we can get it. There's another one that's much closer. Oh, no, we're in a wind stream. Let's see. Oh, well, there's a wind crow. And there's another wind crow and a vine beast here. So the other aspect of tactics that I didn't really talk about is, I mean, I kind of started talking about it, how there is a desire to, once you've read a certain distance ahead, a desire to make a bunch of moves all at once, and you can't do that. And the reason you can't do that is because the situation does change. Even though, it doesn't change very much on each given turn, you do have to be aware of how it's changing. So we now have the 10 treasures we need. Let's see. I don't think it says when air elementals appear. You think the purpose is to harness the magical power of air elementals, but you're not sure. But we can, poke our heads in here and see, try and generate one. I find these, the wind crow, is that what they are, crows? Anyway, I find them difficult to see. But there's one right there. Wind crow, okay. So, do we need to gather more treasures? I don't really know. I mean, the way that this orb strategy mode works, I think it's reasonable to get more treasures. But I do want to stay nearish to the crossroads. And we're just going to, poke around, look around, try and find what it is we're looking for. But I don't really know what are the spawning rules for air elementals. Oh dear, okay, so yeah. So there's me not seeing them again. They can move very fast with the wind. Oh no, okay. So I'm really bad at the Windy Plains, and I should have taken that more slowly. So we have an Orb of Thorns that I think we can use. I'm not sure. I think the wind will allow us to use it. Yeah, so let's use that, because it's a more situational orb. It is good to use that one instead of a panic orb. And so Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of continue poking my head out here. Now these tiles are, I believe, infinite in length. They're actually bands. And so we can find our way back to the crossroads very easily if we follow one of these. But whether or not air elementals will appear, I don't know. I don't know what it is that is required to spawn them. And I'm kind of wondering if it's better to go along the edge through the crossroads and wait for one to come out of the windy plains. That way we don't have to worry as much about situations like this that I inadvertently caused because I can't see the crows. And I should probably actually use high contrast mode to help with that. And because I'm just really bad at windy plains tactics. So they're actually not that much easier for me to see. So that's a disappointment. Yeah, it's frustrating that we haven't seen any elementals. I don't know if they're like extremely rare, or if we're just not getting lucky, or if there's something else that we need to do. And I don't know if there's a bestiary in this game. I don't think there is. So we can't look at what its spawning requirements are. So I actually want to check the overview, and let's take a look at the elemental planes. And yeah, all we need is an air elemental, and yes, it does spawn in the windy plains. So that is what we're looking for here, and it's just a matter of... Oh, there's one. Okay. So this is a little bit of a tricky situation because of the wind effect. So I'm going to try and get these guys to line up. There we go. So there we go. So now the elemental planes should be unlocked. So let's head there. And I'm not feeling super great. I'm getting ready for vacation. I'm kind of panicked and packing. Oh no. Okay, so here's another tactical situation. So I wasn't paying enough attention. And we have a situation where we have two enemies that are going to reach us at the same time, and two other enemies kind of choking us from escaping. Now, if we take one step up, we will come closer to this wind crow, and still this familiar won't be able to reach us. The Dark Troll will still not be able to reach us, and the Narcissist will not be able to reach us. So we take one step. Now, if we kill this Stormcrow, which we have to, both of these two are going to reach us, but they are, let's see, not able to put us in a pincher position. So that's good. Because that's always a risk on a hexagon. And so I'm going to do that, and then we have to check how things changed. So they did put us into a bad position, a worse position than if the troll had stepped here. And some new stuff has arrived from this side, which doesn't matter all that much. So we're going to use this heptagon to try and space things out. There we go. So now we have them lined up. But we can't just, go nuts attacking them, without paying attention, because other stuff could show up from elsewhere. And so now I'm going to drop into an orb of safety, because I think Vipul was saying that it can make it a little bit easier for lands to spawn once you've unlocked them, if you immediately use an orb of safety. And there is the elemental planes right there. So let's head in. deal with some combat before we go in there. And you need one of each type of shard from each type of plane. And that will fuse together into a treasure. That's my memory of how this works. Let's take a look. The elemental planes are divided into 4 subzones: fire, water, air, and earth. You need to collect a shard from each plane to construct an elemental gem. It is dangerous to collect too many shards of the same type without constructing a gem. So let's get 3 from each area. And so you can see they have different properties. The planes of earth have walls, the planes of water have seas, and the planes of fire have fire. So they all effectively are the same, but once orbs get into the mix, it's going to be quite different. And we're going to see different elementals with quite different properties. So we have now, let's see, water, earth, and fire, so we need air. We need to find a plane of air. Here we go. And the planes of air have chasms. And so here, this is interesting when they combine. Here we have pools of water with little walls around them. Fire elemental, so we have 3 of these, so we need 3 air shards, and those are going to give us, oh, each one gives us 4 gems. And so as we pick up these air gems, we're going to get more of these. So we can stand still against these guys, we just can't move toward them. And there we go. So now we have 12 treasures from here. We need 50 treasures to unlock the Yender quest. But I think that 10 treasures, 12 treasures here, 10 treasures in most places is what I think is reasonable to say, you know, hey, we visited this place, we did something here, and I believe we have an orb from here now. Oh wow, we have 33 orbs. I had not been paying attention. So what do we have? Orb of Domination, Orb of Ether, Summoning. Unlocked by Elemental Gem. What does it do? This orb allows you to summon monsters. Usually they are either elementals or native creatures. While the monsters do not like being summoned and will attack you once they recover from summoning sickness, such summoning often has its uses. That's right. And I don't know what those uses are yet. I haven't really explored that. So what else have we gotten? Orb of Air, Orb of Flash, Orb of Safety, Fish, Life, Empathy, Dragon, Earth, Mirror, Thorns. So I believe we got one for the elemental planes. Yeah. Oh, for 20 elemental gems, so we get another one of those. That can be useful. We'll get one of these for necromancer totems. Discord, storms, time, teleport, winter, matter, mind, shielding. Okay. So we've got some good stuff. And, you know, we might be able to get... I don't know, the elemental planes are very much an unknown quantity. But with just 2 more from each land, we will have enough to get another Orb of Earth. And my guess is that we'll actually get more bonus orbs than that. But let's give it a shot. So we have, let's see, 2 water, 2 air, so now we need to get 2 earth and 2 fire. And the pattern here is interesting. It's these infinite hallways. I think it's the same pattern as the Crossroads, or at least a very similar pattern to the Crossroads Type 3. Maybe a bit different. I'm not entirely sure, but it is a very similar pattern of these crisscrossing lines that meet at 90-degree angles. So all we need is fire. Let's find a plane of fire. And I see one right there. So there we go. We have 20 treasures. It looks like we only got one more orb. We got that extra orb of Earth. No? Oh, it's a question mark, so it's not sure. And it looks like we might not get fire orbs because, yeah, I don't know if we need... My thought is that probably we need the base area, so that would be the Land of Power, in order to get the extras. But I'm not actually completely sure of that, because we did get an Orb of Winter. So yeah, maybe not. So we want to get out of here. Relia is not the best option. But... let's see, how are we doing for Relia? How are we doing? 46. So actually, we can get our first 50 this way. And this will bring us face to face with some very difficult tactics. And so we really need to be paying attention. Okay, that might have been a really big mistake. Yeah, because that's going to put fire, and this one's going to put fire. And this is going to put us into a very sticky situation. Especially with that tentacle. Oh, nope, the tentacle's going to get pushed away, but we're going to have two of these guys on us, and that's going to force us to use a panic orb. And so we're going to use an orb of... let's see, I don't know if Earth breaks down these pillars. Flash is actually not that great because I don't think it's going to destroy the stuff around us that really matters. I think Teleport... Ether would work. Actually, Winter would work in... would Winter work in this situation? I think it would. Because we can go down here, and then this will get out of our way. This guy will move up to us. We'll have two guys on us, but we can move into this space. And so I think that that is going to be the least... or it's going to be the most specialized orb that we can use in this situation. And so, let's see, I do want to kind of look at, is there anything else that's really specialized that we could use? I don't really see it. Ether is the only one that would also be fairly specialized and would work. But Winter is more specialized than Ether, since it's basically a special case of Ether. You know, Ether does a bunch of things. It has a bunch of effects, one of which is the primary effect of the Orb of Winter. So we got out of there. We had to use an orb in a situation, but we're going to face some very sticky situations in here. And we do want to find ourselves... So there's a situation where we were able to do something we couldn't do otherwise because of the Orb of Winter. So having that lingering useful effect is really nice. We do want to get the treasures. So here is actually a situation where, you know, we really have to be reevaluating the situation. So this guy's going to double back, block that one off, but also come nearer to us. Oh, he didn't. Okay. So I misread that, which is another, really good reason for taking it slowly and reevaluating. So what are we at? 48. We need 2 more, and then we will have our first 50, and then we'll be on the lookout for an icy land. Because that is... Oh no, actually we have 60 from there, so... what else are we close on? Not much. 35 gold? Alright, we have a pretty complicated situation here with 2 fire throwers and 2 cultists coming from this direction. So I'm actually going to head this way, which is kind of a line of retreat. Let's see, these guys go clockwise, so this is going to become active. And so I'm going to go this way, and that actually has blocked us in, and we're going to need to use another orb. Unless we can escape into this temple. And the temples actually give us an opportunity to kind of create barriers and really simplify the tactics. And now, because we're near a boundary, there's not going to be much in the way of treasures. I think there's going to be no treasures near boundaries. And so we have to find a way to get away from these temples and into some place where treasures can spawn. Now that's interesting, but there's one that is immediately adjacent to the temple, so it seems I am wrong. But we can grab this pair here. And I think generally it's good to trigger fire cultists early, so that you know the lay of the land, you don't get surprised. And they can create blockades sometimes. Now we're mainly trying to get out of here. We're going to be looking for almost any exit. Yeah, I think a palace is fine. Especially if we can find a closing plate like that. There we go. So this is another area where I'm not particularly skilled. But it's at least safer than Relia is right now. But still, we're really just looking for a way out. And so, like, the prairie is another one. We can be looking for a way out. Now, I read recently that the prairie is actually finite. I'm not really sure how that works. I just read on the blog that it was based on a finite pattern. But, yeah, lands don't spawn very much here. But we're going to be using the orbs of safety basically to generate new areas and hopefully find our way to a crossroads. And I may have misunderstood the blog post because it didn't say very much. Here is a crossroad, so we're going to be looking for an orb of safety. What is that? Trollheim. So we must have gotten all of the troll kills that we need. Alright, that I got kind of embedded in tactics and wasn't paying enough attention, and let's see. That's how we do that. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking about what to say. I was paying too much attention to tactics. But now we're just looking for an orb of safety. They should... supposed to be fairly common. In the Crossroads 2, they're harder to find, just because there's less crossroads. And things are getting dicey. Things are getting real dicey. Alright, so we need to use an orb. Whoops, that's the overview. Inventory. So, I'm actually going to use the Orb of Matter. Let's see. Yeah, Orb of Matter. We have a few of them. They're fairly niche. And they're not going to do what I need them to do. Darn. Because what I need to do is... yeah, because we're stuck here. Orb of Thorns would get us out of here. Orb of Ether would get us out of here. Orb of the Mind would not. That would have before. Teleport, Storms, Thorns, Earth... Life, Empathy, Fish, Safety. Let's use the Orb of Safety, because we need to wrap it up. We've been going for a really long time, I think, and we haven't found an Orb of Safety. So that's our last in-hand Orb of Safety, but I'm okay with that. And we're going to pick this up again next time. We're going to have to pick a new long-term goal. Still having a really good adventure. We're going to need to finish up 50 treasures in more different lands. And just keep figuring out what to do and keep trying to pay more attention to tactics. So until next time, thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.